Of course. We thought we'd be on time first time, but all right. Welcome again to another episode of Draft Day Preppers. In case you're unaware, we're starting to shift just from time to time, shift away from the actual podcast format to doing more live shows. We found that you guys just engage more and it's a lot easier for us too to film it this way and a little bit more fun. You get us
yeah.
unedited version for sure, but
Uncut.
I'm Evan, and joined with me as always, we have Cody, the draft guru, and Drew, aka Bread Pack 17. How we doing today?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Good to hear. Today we're going to be covering just news and notes, some injury updates, as well as just going through the Week 4 schedule. Of course, focusing on the fantasy football implications and just and answering your questions live if you submit any. We're on Twitter and YouTube, so if you have any questions, just type them in the chat there, and we'd be happy to answer.
Yeah. We got a big match. We got a big matchup this week. Me and Cody.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys really? Okay.
It's big for someone.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, certainly. We actually should let the listeners know that Cody and I are the 3-0.
Oh, I think they've heard.
Leaders currently in the league that we're all in together, and Drew is at a 0-3. So
yeah, tough start, but
you can only go up from here.
Yeah. I'm not too worried right now. But my plan is Austin Ekeler has one more, like a decent game, and he's gone.
Oh,
really? Like traded?
On the block.
Yeah, well, I'm not trading him to you two, but like I'll find someone.
It's all right. I'm 3-0. I'll be good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. I mean, now's the time. Like, just out of curiosity, like Cody being 3-0 and having a solid team at this point. Like, how do you approach? Like, what's your strategy with approaching the rest of the season? Are you looking to trade maybe some of your wide receiver 2 options, running back 2 options, like do a package deal for a guy like Austin Ekeler, who's just been struggling thus far in the season, and maybe trying to capitalize on some, just some lower performing players that you probably know will pick it up later in the year? Because that's me.
Yeah, probably. I'm looking at my internally on guys I don't think that are going to keep up the way they're doing, like certain players. And then also I'm trying to semi take advantage of people that are panicking with their rosters.
Yeah.
Whether they're 3 or whatever, they're not happy about. Let's see, who's a player that people aren't happy with right now?
Leonard Fournette.
I mean, Zeke.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Zeke,
I'm looking to kind of take advantage of like guys like that, maybe build some depth. It just really depends, but definitely staying active on the waiver wire. Don't get too what is it?
Complacent.
Don't settle in. It's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It is. Now's the time to get some depth, and I've been looking at getting Kamara, in just about every league that I'm in that I don't have him, just because he has to start producing, especially with that offense looks good, to be honest. Like Chris Olave's just that deep threat that stretches the field, and I think he just has to get more work. There's no way that team doesn't figure out a way to get him some opportunities.
I think he's going to benefit most from Jameis, though. Isn't Jameis a little hurt this week?
Yeah, so we might get some Taysom Hill action. And that's the 8:30 game. Remember people, it's an 8:30 London game. So check your lineups early.
Going to be a good match, isn't it?
Can we play him in our tight end position?
I don't think so. I really hope not. That last year, that was a huge controversy, I remember.
Hey, Drew, if you want to, you can against me. It's okay.
Really?
That's just good sportsmanship. No. You can't even be mad at that, Drew. That's just good old fashioned friendship.
That's like playing someone in Madden and telling them to pick your team.
That's the most disrespectful. Like, I grew up, like, I'm the youngest of 4, and just playing Madden with my brothers, they would do that, and that would just make me so mad.
My brother was relentless and like would dub me by like 30, like
Right. And
running
there's
it
no,
up on me.
yeah, and there's no quitting early too when you're playing against a sibling. It's like, no, you're gonna sit there and have this bloodbath of a match.
Yeah, it's gonna sit on pause till you come back.
Oh yeah, even if you like try to play the PS2 like a week later, it's like, wow, it's still running, huh? But anyway, let's dive into just some injury news. Starting up with Dalvin Cook. It looks like the injury isn't expected to be too serious, so he is most likely going to play this week against New Orleans. Again, that's an 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Eastern time start. So make sure you're well aware. If we have, of course, a lot of Central time zone listeners and viewers, so make sure you're on the ball on that in case anything crazy happens. I mean, hopefully you were able to pick up Alexander Madison or have a different option to put in Dalvin Cook's stead. But as of right now of this recording, he should be good to go.
Yeah, if he's good, if they say he's practicing, I'd still play him with confidence. I think he came off the same injury. I told Cody this last week. He came off this injury last year and had like a big blow up game. So I'm not worried. I think they'll just toss a brace on it and should be good to go.
The bionicle arm that they had him in most of last season.
Yeah, which I'm thinking he'll still get. I think it'll happen again this season, but
For sure.
we'll see.
Next up, we have David Montgomery. So he left last week against the Texans early, and he is questionable coming up in week 4. There are a lot of reports that he's day-to-day, but this is just a really hard injury to gauge. Either way, I mean, if he plays, I do think that you can play him. But what are you guys doing? Let's say you picked up Khalil Herbert off the waivers this week. How are you kind of balancing that? You know, are you still, if you had the choice between the two, David Montgomery or Khalil Herbert, both running backs for the Chicago Bears, who are you looking to play? And do you play either of them with extreme confidence if they both are in the contest?
They're both in. It's hard to play Khalil, but I think David Montgomery's injury is worse than what we're saying. I heard he had like a ankle sprain or something too. What is it? What's his injury?
It's an ankle/knee.
Yeah.
So the actual, not a doctor.
You need those.
What were you saying, Cody?
I said you need your ankles and knee, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna be business as usual. That'd be pretty crazy because Khalil's been like one of the bright spots in a struggling offense. I don't know why they would give Montgomery the same workload, so I would be hesitant playing Montgomery, and I don't know if you can insert Herbert into the lineup this week. If you have to, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst play. He's gonna get some work. I don't think it's gonna be business as usual for Montgomery and his touches.
But if Montgomery doesn't play, I'd play Khalil.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. 100%.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think you could still do it now. It's just you don't really know like what they're gonna do because up till this point they've shown that they're not bright coaches.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
How are the Bears 2-1 right now? Like that is insane to me.
Yeah, who'd they play? Oh, they had the
bad weather game, yeah.
Bad weather game, and they had Trey Lance against them, so
that was like the worst I've ever seen a field with like it was full puddles like everywhere.
Yeah.
Crazy. Moving on, we have an update on DeAndre Swift. He was out kind of with 2 different injuries, both with an ankle injury as well as a shoulder injury. He's questionable to suit up, or he was questionable to suit up in week 3. Only saw 10 touches in that game against the Vikings. Most likely, I believe most reports are leaning towards him being out this week. So I feel like Jamal Williams is just an absolute smash play, backup running back for the Detroit Lions. If you're able to pick him up or if you were stashing him, I mean, Jamal Williams is going to be a week winner if D Swift does not play.
He's like the number 6 or 7 RB. Jamal and Swift are 6 and 7. It's I don't know. It's insane. Play
He
Jamal.
scores all their touchdowns.
I think they were talking about having Swift out for 3 weeks past their bye, and him coming back after that.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
Dave said.
I just went and traded for Swift right now in one of my other leagues. I dumped off J.K. Dobbins and A.J. Dillon for him because my team's stacked and it's work league.
Beautiful. Great move. Sounds great.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
move. Moving on. I mean, there was some injury update to Justin Herbert and Josh Allen. They're both going to play, so don't have to worry about that. So they're both completely fine. I think you can start Josh Allen and Justin Herbert with complete confidence this week. Herbert he did not look healthy last week, but just with another week of just general healing, I think he should be completely fine this week. But since we're on the Chargers, Keenan Allen, he is trending towards playing, but we also heard that last week as well. So that's one that you'll definitely have to manage and keep an eye out up until game time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He's always had like kind of like little stuff like that. I feel like this week he should be good to go enough to play. With being close last week and him having dealt with this stuff before, I would trust a player in him knowing his body and putting himself out there. And they kind of need him to come back too. I mean, they're across the board, offensive line, defense, they are banged up.
Corey Linsley's likely back though, right?
That I'm not. I've seen he was questionable last time I seen, but
he's trending towards playing. So
yeah,
you just gotta love like the injury update language that we get. It's like he's trending towards playing. Like, is he or is he like a stock that you're looking to invest in? What's going on here?
Yeah. And you play a guy that's trending to play and he doesn't play. It's like, the hell?
Right.
He was trending that way. I don't care. Did he play?
Right. I was looking at the trends. Next up, we have Mac Jones. I mean, the report I'm looking at says that he could play. There's not a chance that Mac Jones plays.
Not a chance.
With his high ankle sprain. High ankle sprains are very tough to deal with. Like, I've had a couple in my day and they hurt a ton. Like, you can't walk on them. So I very much doubt that he plays. But I gotta say, the photo of him coming off the field looked like he just got shot.
Yeah.
I assume it looked like he was just out for the career. Like, he was just gonna, I don't even know.
Yeah.
He just looked bad.
As I was motioning to, I'm calling Cap, as the youngins are saying nowadays. He's definitely not playing.
Yeah, not a chance.
A severe high ankle sprain.
They made
Bill's
it sound
not
like
that crazy.
They made it sound like his ankle was broken. It was so severe.
Bill's just using the media as much as he can to try and think that he's gonna play. He's definitely not playing.
So Brian Hoyer, he's up. I forgot that he was in the league.
Yeah, he might be a little better for the fantasy wide receivers. We'll have to see.
Maybe.
Right? Yeah,
get a little
Myers, Nelson Aguilar.
Hope for Flacco kind of bump.
Devontae Parker,
yeah. Out of those three, who would you look to start for New England? I mean, I personally, if Jacoby Myers does play, I would lean more towards him. Just with Brian Hoyer.
I hate Jacoby Myers.
Right, and he has not produced for fantasy thus far.
Well, he'll get you 9 points or 8-9 points. He just never does anything cool for your team, you know? He's such a boring play.
He's like a good 4 catches for 67 yards. Like, that's been his stat line.
He's someone you play when you almost want to win.
Right, when you can play it really safe.
Yeah.
Any other news, notes, injury updates that you guys have?
McCaffrey's been out of practice with a quad injury, which is pretty scary because, if it turns out to be something like Michael Pittman's, I was listening to a Fantasy Doctor show, and it could be a couple weeks, but hopefully it's just a bruised thigh, which that's the best case scenario. So keep your heads up on practice tomorrow. If he practices tomorrow, we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Were you listening to the Fantasy Doctor show just to, potentially heal your team just as a whole, or
My
what was the-
dude, my team's not banged up. Actually,
No,
Michael
I know,
Thomas.
but it's the
Michael
whole thing.
Thomas is big toe.
Their pride's hurt.
Yeah, the pride is there. I don't think there's any doctor, any medicine that you can do for that.
We tried a
talking-
candle last week, and I don't know. We'll see. We
talking soft,
tried a
boys.
candle, and I'm playing him this week. So
Yeah, well,
Oh.
Cody could barely blow out the candle, so I don't really know what that was.
it got blown out by my fan.
Ah,
Jonathan Taylor missed practice. I don't think it's going to be anything where he'll miss, but apparently it's his first missed practice in forever. Like he didn't miss practice in high school or college, so I don't know.
It was a toe
It's
injury. That sounds like so, and I don't know. I feel like he can run without a toe. Hopefully, it's not the big toe.
right. All right.
Oh,
We
um,
actually
we gotta-
our first question popped in of the day. Alex here is typing. This guy is offering me Chris Olave, Mike Williams, and Drake London for Debo.
Do you need wide receiver help? I would do that. I like Debo though. I think Debo is going to be like top
It depends-
top 10 by the end of the year.
I mean, if
I'll
I'm
probably Go ahead.
oh sorry, no, Cody, after you, I said.
It probably depends where your team's at. I would say, like if you're like I would say like a 2-1 team, a 3-0 team, I would probably stay put with Debo. If your receiver depth is bad and Debo's your only receiver, I would look into that. Mike Williams kind of worries me with basically because of Herbert's health, but Chris Olave is trending. I've been looking to trade for him in multiple leagues.
Mhm.
I personally take this trade for sure. Like Chris Olave has shown what he can do. He just leads the league in air yards. Otherwise, he just typed in again. Otherwise, Devontae Smith, McKenzie, Zay Jones. I
Yeah,
assume
you
you have
can do
great
that.
running back help then. So I personally would do that. I mean, Drake London is getting 35% of the target share for the Falcons. Like that's a locked in like set wide receiver one. So personally, I would do this trade. But again, look at your roster. I mean, if you need that wide receiver depth, and also if you're in like a 2-flex league, for sure do this just because you need that wide receiver depth, in my opinion. But me personally, I would do this trade. But
Yeah, the three receivers you're getting here, one of them are going to be good, I think, for sure, and you could maybe get a second one.
right, like those are three legit. I would say end of year, they end up in like each of these three receivers end up in the top 36
Mm-hmm.
wide receivers, in my
And
opinion.
Devontae Smith.
And Devontae Smith, who last two weeks have been popping off. The Eagles are
Yep.
incredible this year, just from what
Yeah.
we've seen. So personally, I would definitely do that. But appreciate the rep.
Let her rip.
All right, let's dive into the Week 4 matchups then. So first up, we have the 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time start. Sorry, I was wrong on that early in the show. We have the Vikings versus the Saints happening in London, and will they play "God Save the Queen" instead of the national anthem? That was a low shot. That was a low ball shot. But
That was right down the middle. That was right in the wheelhouse. That was awesome.
the current line set by Vegas, it has the Vikings winning. They're 2.5-point favorites, so it really is a toss-up here for the Vikings. I would assume Dalvin Cook's going to play, so you're obviously starting him. If not, line up your Alexander Madison if you have him. Justin Jefferson is a for sure play. Are you guys playing Thielen? That's probably going to be a question that we ask every week. What's your gauge on Adam Thielen for this game?
His upside is a flex, but he hasn't been that guy. I honestly like KJ Osborne more.
Yeah.
Just because like Thielen at this point has kind of become just a name for fantasy. He's not what he was advertised the past couple years, but KJ is getting some of those targets now, and he's looked solid. So I wouldn't start him.
No, yeah, I agree.
On the Saints side, what are you doing with Alvin Kamara? Like, do you start him with confidence? I mean, he's still always projected for, those 15 points, but thus far in the season has not panned out. We actually got a legal update today that it's almost like a 95% chance that he will not face legal action for his off
Oh,
issues. So he won't face anything like that. He did have a Q by his name for majority of the week, but he's leaning towards playing, most likely going to play. At what point with a guy like that, because you did have to spend quite a bit of draft capital on him, taking him in the first or second round, at what point do you just say you can't play him anymore?
I would just keep playing him. I'm doing it with Eckler right now. I mean, he's on the field. We know what he's done before. Like, you got to.
I don't think
hard
not
not-
playing him is like an option. It's you're either playing him or you got to trade him for something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. For the wide receivers for the Saints, I mean, you're lining up Chris Olave. I think he's a week in, week out starter from this point going forward. Michael Thomas, I did see, actually was questionable for this game. He had I believe he had a toe injury that could be a little severe. So how do you gauge that wide receiver room? With Chris Olave with Chris Olave if Jameis doesn't play, because Jameis is also, just has broken legs.
I think Jameis is gonna play. From what I don't know. I think he'll play, and I think you can play Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. Jameis looks for Thomas in the red zone, and Olave gets the huge deep yardage. I think you can play them both.
Yeah, I would think the only thing that would change that is if like Taysom Hill plays. I would expect them to probably like run it with him and with Kamara more. So
it'd be hard. It would be hard to play both Olave and Michael Thomas as Taysom Hill's the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't play him.
If Taysom Hill's the quarterback, honestly, I'd probably only play Thomas.
Yeah, I would not. Olave's not going to get the deep balls then.
Right.
Yeah.
Next game we have up is the Browns versus the Falcons. Currently, the Browns are 1-point road favorites. So, again, it's another toss-up game. For the Browns, you're starting your Nick Chubb. Are you actually starting Kareem Hunt, running back for the Browns with confidence?
Yeah.
I do, yeah. Any game he could be the end zone. He could get the touchdown.
What about, moving on to wide receivers for the Browns, are you playing? Amari Cooper's a week in, week out starter now, in my opinion. David Njoku, tight end for the Browns, though. He popped off last week. What's the gauge? Like, what's your guys' thoughts on David Njoku going forward?
So I just picked him up to play against Cody, and he popped up with an injury, of course. Ooh, Tua just got mauled. Dude, right back to his.
Bro, he is messed up. Like, oh my goodness.
Right, like we love players that like to tough it out, but at some point, he's gotten some shots last 2 weeks. But back to all good. Yeah, we're doing this live during a game, so
yeah. I play Njoku with confidence, but I just need to make sure he's practicing tomorrow. I don't know what the injury. I don't even know if he had an injury. It just said he missed practice. It didn't say the injury.
Might have been just like a little rest day or something. They'll throw
because Falcons have been really, really bad against tight ends, so I think it's a really good matchup for him. When you see a pop-up game like last game, I think you got to play him with someone like that. Waiver wire guys.
Now, moving on to the Falcons, then. Cody, we are actually talking about this, I believe, before we even went live. You're starting Tyler Algier this week. What's the thought process and worry level going to that?
You're starting him?
I don't know if I'm starting him yet.
Why don't you? Are you going to start Joe Flacco again?
If Cordero doesn't play, definite start.
Yeah.
But I I'm just hoping he becomes something because I overdrafted him, and I looked really dumb, like looking back at it.
In the 9th round for the people at home.
And then in our other draft, he went for the last pick. So just the gauge of what overpick that was. But no, I probably wouldn't start him this week unless Cordero is like out. Only because I think if he's in, even hurt, he's gonna get third down touches, and they're probably gonna be down. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I can start him this week. I hope one day I can start him so I can be vindicated.
I mean, that could be a great keeper next year, even if it is in the 9th round, if he eventually takes over that work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other options for the Falcons. I mean, you're playing. Tua does not look good. Anyway,
he's throwing up gang signs.
They're bringing out the stretcher.
He's knocked out.
Eesh. But anyway, for the Falcons, you're definitely starting Drake London at this point. He's again, he just gets so much of the target share. Gets 35% of the target share for that offense. Kyle Pitts was involved a lot more last week than he was the previous 2 weeks. So I do think you drafted to play Kyle Pitts, so you kind of are forced into that. Anyone else on the Falcons that you're looking at?
No. Not really.
Not really. Pitts, definitely you gotta play him based on where you picked him, and he had a solid week last week. Drake London you can play, and then there's not another receiver I would even have on my roster on the Falcons.
No. Actually, I think if you're really struggling at QB, I think you can still toss Mariota in there, because I don't think what's his name? I don't think who's the guy who just got in the car accident? I don't think he's playing this week.
Myles Garrett, yeah.
He's out. And I don't know. I think he's been all right.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting close to 40 rushing yards a game. So that's a great baseline if you're in a pinch there.
Yeah.
Next matchup. Oh, sorry, Drew, you had something else?
No. I'm done with this one.
Next matchup we have is the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this game is a little interesting just with the NFC Beast being what it is. I mean, it's a rather competitive, I would say, division at this point. Cowboys are only 3-point favorites at home, which I think is very interesting. Looking at the fantasy matchups, Commanders, you're lining up Antonio Gibson. Are you lining up Brian Robinson, their other running back option?
Is he playing this week?
He played last week, correct?
No, he was like on the field last week, like during warmups. I don't know if he's playing this week. Even if he was, I don't know if you can play him first week back from gunshot wound.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of a tough hill to climb. When
even though they do hate Antonio Gibson, but I don't even think they could bring on Brian Robinson that fast.
Right. Wide receiver options for the Commanders. I believe you can safely start a majority of the options. So Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel. I think you can play them all with ease. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd play all three.
Yeah,
Terry might get Trayvon Diggs though, so it might be a down game for Terry.
Trayvon Diggs lets up the most passing yards in the NFL.
Last year he did, yeah.
He's an incredible playmaker, but he does let up some hilarious deep balls for an all-pro.
Yeah.
He's an aggressive corner that, does give up a bunch of yards. So I expect Terry to be fine, Dotson to be fine. Personally, I have Dotson in one of my leagues, and I'm actually looking to sell him. I don't know if yes. I don't know if not necessarily him, but if they can get the ball to all these guys, like every single game, like Terry probably for sure. God, taking 2 auto stretchers. Sorry.
Dude. I'm trading Clint Dak Prescott. That's why I picked him up. I'm going to try to trade him.
Man, last year Clint had the kiss of death for quarterbacks. Might have happened again.
Might have happened again. Man, T's and P's for Tua. That looked gnarly.
I would like to see a thumbs up, but he's not even moving, is he?
No. Yeah, that is tough. Back to the matchup for the Commanders. Would you be looking to stream Carson Wentz in this matchup?
Definitely. I think so.
Yeah. I think Micah Parsons is just gonna be all over him. I think he's gonna have a day because Philly just had 9 sacks on Carson Wentz last game.
One of the worst O-lines in the league.
Yeah, honestly, it should be like good for his receivers, but I think he's just gonna be getting mauled back there.
For sure.
If nobody picked up Trevor Lawrence, I would play him over Carson Wentz.
Would you play Jared Goff or Carson Wentz this week?
Jared Goff. I have to play Jared Goff in my leagues.
And Jared Goff's been looking pretty good, honestly, this year.
And he's going against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a plus.
Yeah. For the Cowboys, you're playing Zeke, you're playing Pollard, you're playing CD, who should have had just an unbelievable game on Monday. He still produced for you, but did he have a bad drop?
Are you playing Gallup?
No, I believe Gallup's still injured, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he?
Yeah, I used practicing a little bit, but I mean, honestly, same thing pretty much for every player that I have that's coming off like a semi-big injury. I probably just don't play him first week back if I don't have to. If you have to, then yeah, obviously, but just first game back are always like slow, especially with what Gallup do? Was it an ACL from last year?
Yeah, it was ACL.
So yeah, he'll get going eventually. He'll definitely be a part of fantasy championship teams, I think, for people that got him. Whether he gets kept or traded by whoever picked him up, but yeah, I think he'll be a relevant receiver here in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And especially once Dak comes back.
Yeah.
I know we don't talk about defenses a ton, but Cowboys defense may eat during this game with how bad that Commanders O-line is and with how good Micah Parsons is.
Mm-hmm. I look to pick him up, but Scott's got him.
They're a good fantasy defense for our league, especially if you take out the yards. So they'll give up a bunch of yards, but they're not giving up a bunch of points. They're getting sacks, they're getting picks, they're getting fumbles.
Making plays, for sure. Next matchup we have is the Seahawks at the Lions. The Lions are currently 4-point favorites, according to Las Vegas Sportsbooks. For the Seahawks, I mean, who are you playing?
Probably Penny for sure.
If there's a 3-second silence of who are you playing, you know that the outlook isn't good.
Pretty much. You could play Penny.
Who'd you say?
You could play Rashad Penny.
Running back for the Seahawks.
DK, maybe a flex spot.
DK's been looking all right.
That's insane saying DK as a flex. Like
Tyler Lockett showed up the past 2 weeks too.
Yeah.
I mean, Gino's been like okay. He's been like serviceable.
Yeah. Honestly, Tyler, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be hard for me to get Lockett in there, but he looks pretty decent. He's putting up points.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the Lions defense has given up a bunch of points and yards.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, both flexes.
For the Lions, yeah, you're playing Jamal Williams. I think you're playing Jamal Williams regardless whether Swift plays or not. But again, if Swift doesn't play, like Jamal Williams is going to be an absolute stud this week. Oh, huge shot for T. Higgins and the Dolphins-Bengals game. That's huge for my DraftKings. Let's go, boys. But
there was a miscommunication. They're playing like 2 high safeties, and they're on the same side. They'll show the end zone view. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's why.
I need Jamar Chase. I need Jamar Chase to score one bad.
That must have been like Randy Moss defense or something.
Right. Yeah, that corner was just left to die. Back to the matchup, though, for the Lions. I think you'd start both running back options. Receiver options, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a for sure go. Anyone else? I mean, you're looking at DJ Chark at all to play against the Seahawks defense?
Usually not, but because of the Seahawks defense, they have an incredibly young secondary. If you're in a bind and you need a flex, you could maybe talk yourself into DJ Chark because they're just young corners. Like they're gonna make some mistakes here and there, and Goff's gonna pick on them for sure, especially Kobe Bryant. Not 24, but Kobe Bryant.
Not the NBA Hall of Famer. Wow.
They're definitely going to pick on him a little bit. So, I mean, if you have to, and Chark might be a low guy that you could put in a DraftKings lineup together with, too.
What do you guys think?
I have him circled this week for the DraftKings ones. Not a sponsor, but definitely looking to do him. Play him.
Do him? Pause.
What? Next matchup we got is the Titans at the Colts. The Colts are currently 3.5-point favorites. The Titans lining up Derrick Henry. Drew, I know you're a big Treylon Burks guy. How are you feeling about playing him this week?
I'm not gonna play him until he has a pop-off game, but he's definitely getting I don't know, an insane target share. I don't know, like over 30%. He's looking better and better each week. I think it'll just take him a few more weeks or maybe a week or two, and I think you'll be able to start tossing him in your flex. I think he's going to pop off. I don't know if it's going to happen this week or next, but it's going to happen. You can tell.
I mean, he gets a ton, like route participation metrics are off the chart. He's getting closer to being the number one wide receiver in that room. Robert Woods, I mean, I wouldn't play him at all.
No.
The receiving options for
him to the waiver wire.
Right, he most likely is on the waiver wire. But I think that's the only real receiving option that you can do. Would you ever start Tannehill as a streamer?
Not this year.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
He is so
last year.
I did, and the year before.
And the year before that.
Yeah.
Colts defense you might be able to play because Taylor Lewan's out, and I think Shaq Leonard's coming back for this game.
That's right.
He's a big peanut puncher.
Yeah, a lot of fumbles.
11 or 12 forced fumbles last year. It's pretty wild.
Really? Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Not bad.
Maybe I'll switch Colts and into my lineup.
As we all go onto our computers and try to add them.
Drew needs all the help he can get.
Yeah.
He's going against big matchup for him this week.
For the Colts, you're of course starting Jonathan Taylor. I think JT may have a running back 1 week this week. I just think that the Titans defense is not what it really used to be, and Jonathan Taylor is just Jonathan Taylor, right? I mean, you're also playing Michael Pittman, wide receiver 1 for the Colts. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Alec Pierce, kind of their second wide receiver option for the Colts. Personally, I wouldn't play him. I don't think Matt Ryan can properly service 2 fantasy wide receiver options, but Michael Pittman for sure.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, Pierce is definitely someone to keep an eye on, but not somebody to add just quite yet, because there's going to have to be a second guy to emerge from that receiver room, and I think it's going to be Pierce. It's just a matter of time, just win basically.
Mm-hmm.
He went 3 for 61 last week.
Yep, and I mean he's a big he's like a quicker kind of Pittman, not so much not so much stronger, but quicker.
Oh, actually, who was the Colts tight end their second tight end that was going off last week?
Oh, right. So not Mo Alley Cox, but
it was Cooks or something.
Colby Fleener?
No.
No, I forget what his name is, but I mean I'm still not playing at either of them.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
it's Woods. It was
down that bad.
Jelani Woods, 2 touchdowns last week.
Oh yeah, Jelani Woods, rookie.
That dude's like 6'7" and just built.
Yeah.
He ran like
Dude,
a
man.
4 or 5 something 40.
Maybe I'll
It's
play him against
how
you,
more
Cody.
athletic like NFL players are than us. Wow.
He'll be like another like kind of Dawson Knox type guy, like very tight end or very touchdown dependable, but he's not going to get a bunch of targets or receptions, but he's a crazy mismatch in the red zone. So if you have to stream a tight end, maybe he's your guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah. I'd wait. I'd wait to see him a couple weeks.
Next matchup, we have Bears at the Giants. Battle between two and one teams, which is kind of shocking in my opinion.
Mhm.
For the Bears, I mean, we already talked about David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert quite a bit at the beginning of the show. Wide receiver options, you're not playing anyone on the Bears. You're not playing Darnell Mooney, who was supposed to be their wide receiver one. You're not playing Cole Kmet, who was supposed to be their
playing their
end.
You're playing their defense and you're playing their running back. That's all you can play.
That is literally it. That is truly it. Moving on to the Giants, then you're of course playing Saquon. What are you doing with that wide receiver room, if anything?
I mean, if you're in a pinch, maybe Richie James for this one, and then look to stash like Kadarius Toney or Wan'Dale Robinson and see who emerges as their actual number one.
I feel like their doghouse is full of guys.
Huh?
I feel like their doghouse is full of guys. Darius Slayton, Kenny Galladay, Tony.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard's also out he's going to miss some time.
Yeah.
Coming up here, just with his injury. So, I think he's out for the season, isn't he?
Yeah, torn ACL.
Ooh.
Torn ACL, yeah. Sterling
He's going to miss some time.
Yeah, a couple games. Well, it'll be interesting what happens to that wide receiver room. Personally, I think Kadarius Toney would be an amazing stash at this point, just because that offense has been shown to run through him when he's on the field.
He's the most explosive option out of like the receivers that they have, so I would think he would have the most upside. Galladay is kind of, I feel like, made his bed on his role on the team, but like Toney, there's still some hope, I think.
Right.
I think the staff just hates him.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Next matchup we have is the Next matchup we have is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are currently 6.5 point favorites according to Vegas. For the Jaguars, I mean, you definitely actually no. Can you stream Trevor Lawrence in this game? Just with how good the Eagles have looked, how much they're getting at the quarterback?
I think you can.
They've gotten to the quarterback. They've still given up yards and points, though. And it is kind of a blowout. I'm also kind of believing in the Jags and Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence keeping it kind of close. I feel like this might be a little bit of a trap game for the Eagles, actually. Flying high, kind of.
Yeah, it just came off a big primetime win.
Though.
I think Eagles take it, but I mean it could be closer than we think.
Yeah, 6.5 is a lot of points in the NFL. Other options for the Jaguars, you're probably starting James Robinson, most likely. Are you starting Travis Etienne?
Yeah, this might be the game you could toss him in your flex.
They're probably playing some catch up.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be up in this game and using James Robinson the whole time. But we'll see. Maybe you want to wait and see for something like that to happen. But also, Zay Jones is probably going to be out.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, he's got an ankle injury.
Christian Kirk's a definite play.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, Darius Slay's been insane this year.
Who?
Yeah, cornerback for the Eagles.
Darius Slay's been like top 3 cornerbacks this year, I believe.
I was thinking, like, what receiver is that?
Yeah. You're looking through your archives like Slay, where is he?
In my mind of names of athletes, just
Eagle. Oh, sorry, Drew, you have more?
No, that's probably all you can play from Jags, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the Eagles, I mean, Jalen Hurts, potential MVP coming up this year, just with how much hype he's getting and how awesome he's played thus far.
Watch your
Devontae,
mouth, Ev.
I know. Every single time I say the words
Yeah.
MVP,
He's
someone
He's going
goes
to be
down.
punting soon.
Oh man. But yeah, Devontae Smith for sure play at this point. AJ Brown has been a for sure play and probably gonna end up as a wide receiver 1 at this rate.
Dallas
Dallas
Goddard.
Goddard for sure, tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Great play. Any worries about the Eagles' backfield? So Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell. I believe they have a third option whose name is escaping me. But what would you do?
Boston Scott.
Yes, Boston Scott. Do you have confidence in playing any of them?
Yeah, I'll play Miles Sanders probably each and every week, but didn't he pop up with a little injury?
I believe he did have a little. He was day to day, if you will. But
Yeah.
I believe he'll
Aren't we
play.
all?
Yeah.
Right.
He's
My
got a
ankles
shot.
stay being day to day. Like I can just take a step out of bed and
I mean, he's in one of the best offenses in the league, and when you are, you can always get goal line touchdowns. So I
Right.
play him every week.
yeah, the opportunity is definitely going to be there, especially in this game, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's been like their main guy that's been doing stuff for their backfield. Might be a little bit of blowout, so maybe he gets some garbage time carries, but at the same time, they might also just give those to Gainwell and Boston Scott too.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Next matchup we got is the Jets at the Steelers. Steelers are currently 3.5-point favorites. Whew, this game may just be ugly. I don't expect a lot out of the two teams combined scoring, but there are some good fantasy options in this game.
Yeah,
I'm looking for Elijah Moore to pop off with Zach Wilson.
Right?
I'm hoping that happens.
I'm hoping it doesn't happen because I'm playing you. But we playing Brees Hall this week. What would you guys do? Because
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
I think so too.
I think Brees Hall is going to start taking it over from here on out. He
I'm
looks good.
praying, begging, going to church, going everywhere.
I mean, I think it's still going to be a two-headed thing, but I don't know. Brees is starting to look good.
He'll eventually take over and be like the main. They'll definitely do by committee. That's what like the Shanahan tree does. But I think he'll take over soon, and he'll get the third down touches because he's their best receiving back.
Ooh, a doink off the crossbar in the Bengals Dolphins game. There's
Come
no
on, dude.
sound than a doink.
Do you have the Dolphins kicker?
No.
Oh,
No,
you seem
don't.
very mad by that.
I just want to make sure the Bengals have to keep scoring because I want Jamar Chase to score a touchdown.
No.
I got the Bengals winning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, me too.
Well, yeah. Now that Teddy B's in at QB, even though he did just throw a touchdown in his credit. But moving on to the Steelers, wide receiver options. You're playing Deontay Johnson. Would you even look at Chase Claypool as a flex option? Me personally, yeah, no. Najee Harris for sure, running back. Probably running back 1, honestly, this week.
If there's another guy from the receiver room I would go with, it would be Pickens. I don't know if
Me
I feel
too.
super confident like playing him this week, but if I had to choose, it'd be Pickens. He had a crazy one-handed catch. Was that last week or the year or the week before?
Last week.
Last year.
And he's
At Georgia.
yeah. But yeah, his snaps have gone up game by game. He's getting more involved kind of in the offense. I would think maybe him a little bit. He definitely has a crazy catch radius, and with Trubisky and his accuracy, that's favors George Pickens.
Yeah.
Next matchup, and the matchup that personally I'm most excited for this week, Bills at the Ravens. Currently the Bills are 3-point road favorites.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, there's a lot. The over-under in this game, I don't have it in front of me. I heard it earlier today. The over-under is insane, that Vegas set. So Gonna be a lot of points, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Fantasy options for the Bills, Josh Allen for sure start. Can't believe that he threw 60 or he dropped back at least 63 times last week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's just far too much, I think. I mean, you love it for fantasy, but that is insane. You have to have more of a running game than that.
Yeah.
Why even have running backs?
Right.
I kind of figured that would kind of happen, maybe not to that extent. Ken Dorsey's their offensive coordinator now, former quarterback. Like, just feel like those guys they're just gonna do what quarterbacks want to do, throw the ball.
Right. He's basically playing Madden, and to his credit, he has the best QB to play Madden with.
Or what was that NCAA? And they had like Road to Glory, and you're a quarterback. Audible every run. We throw the ball here.
Yep. Bill's fantasy options. I mean, with that backfield, I think you could probably play Devin Singletary at this point with that receiving work.
Yeah.
He got all last week. He got a touchdown for sure, but I believe he got 6 or 7 targets as well. He does look to also get a majority of that running work, so I do think you can flex him at the least.
Yeah.
Wide receiver options, Diggs for sure start, absolute monster. Gabe Davis for sure starts. Where do you land on Isaiah McKenzie? And go ahead.
I'm playing Isaiah McKenzie this week in one of my leagues. I need wide receiver help, but we got 3 wide receivers to start, so I'm playing Isaiah McKenzie. I was looking it up. Baltimore's been really bad against wide receivers and really bad against the slot wide receiver. So I picked him up off the waiver wire, and I just tossed him in over Greg Dortch, which I was really thinking about doing that too. But I figured this is going to be a high-scoring game, and they're pretty piss poor against slot guys.
Speaking of Greg Dortch, I believe Rondale Moore is trending towards playing this week. Would you still play Greg Dortch if Rondale Moore is in? Personally, I would not.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, I would lean not to as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you got other options.
Right. Back to this matchup, Bills tight end Dawson Knox. I don't think you can play him at this point. He just has not gotten any looks, like good looks, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I'm good.
For the Ravens, you're, of course, playing Lamar Jackson. What are you doing with the backfield now with J.K. Dobbins starting to get more work? Last week, he did not do much. Didn't really seem to get much of the work either. So how are you managing that backfield, or are you even messing with that backfield?
Well, first off, it's going to be hard for me to play a lot. I mean, Bill's defensive line's insane. No backfield does good against them.
Right.
And J.K. Dobbins, I'll probably let him on my bench one more week and then be able to start him after that.
Mm-hmm.
At least in your flexes and stuff. Then you can see him pop off, but that's what I'm thinking.
Just quick update on Tua for everyone watching. He was taken to the local hospital, is conscious, and has movement of all of his extremities.
Whew, that's good. Yeah. Definitely love to hear that. That's a scary injury. Like when you see the stretcher go out, that's like a heart dropping moment.
Yeah.
For the wide receiver core for the Ravens, Rashad Bateman, I mean, he was, I guess you could say, a fantasy all-star, for lack of a better word, the first 2 weeks. Last week, he relatively disappointed. Yeah. And when you look at his receptions, I mean, he's only had, I believe it's like 10 or 11 receptions on the year, but they've just been big plays or touchdowns. What are you doing in this game? I know the Bills secondary is very much beat up. I think you can still play. I mean, you're definitely playing Rashad Bateman, I think.
Yeah.
But what about the likes of people like Devin Duvernay? I mean, of course, you're starting Mark Andrews, but what are your thoughts on like a Devin Duvernay?
I don't know. He's kind of like
getting the close-up cam for this one.
Yeah, moving it back a little bit.
Sorry, what are you saying?
I would say, I don't know, man. Duvernay's been one of those guys where he's been like big plays only too.
Mm-hmm.
In this type of game, you could probably get away with playing him. I think it's going to be probably one of the highest scoring, best games of the year. I mean, we got two it'd be hard to argue like these guys are playing like the best quarterbacking out of any of the quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar right now.
Mhm.
So I think you could play Duvernay in your slot.
This game is giving me just some vibes of you. If you guys remember, it was 3 or 4 years ago, the Rams versus Kansas City Chiefs Thursday night game at the Rose Bowl, where it was just like 50-50 or something. It was like the highest scoring game of Thursday night games.
It was more. Yeah, it was. We were at your place, Ev. I watched that over at yours.
It was a crazy game that I actually did not watch. I watched the first drive. There was like 4 penalties on like one drive. And I was like, oh, I'm done. And then went to bed. Come to find out, it's like the best game in a long time. I'm like, wow, awesome, sweet.
Honestly, other than like the Packers Super Bowl during like our lifetime, if I could like erase my memory of a game and watch that game for the first time, it would definitely be that one.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. I guess we never really. Well, no, we did answer the Devin Duvernay question. Moving on to the Chargers at the Texans. So, Chargers 1-2 going up against the Texans, who are 0-2-1. Chargers are currently 5-point road favorites in this game. For the Chargers, you drafted Justin Herbert to play him. You're playing Mike Williams. You're playing Austin Eckler. You're playing Keenan Allen. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts, I guess, maybe on the wide receiver core in particular? Like if Keenan Allen misses time, you could probably look at a Josh Palmer.
Yeah, Josh Palmer's been good.
Yeah.
If Keenan Allen doesn't play, I'd play him.
They really like him there. He played like 96% of snaps last week.
Wow.
And it was like a blowout game. So, I mean, they could have took him out. But they really like him. He's a young receiver. I think they're going to get him more involved, even though if Keenan is back, just because first game back after an injury kind of always worries me.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And Mike Williams, I think, will have a good bounce back game. Austin Eckler, I could see this game being his bounce back game also against the Texans. I do think that
so. I hope so.
I can't wait for Austin Eckler just to be on the waiver wire next week. Drew's just gonna like hate just drop him.
That'd be nice.
For the Texans, in my opinion, you're really only playing like Brandon Cooks in this matchup. What's that face for?
Dameon Pierce. The Chargers' run defense is
you used to talk about receivers.
Okay. Yeah, you could definitely play Dameon Pierce. I always kind of forget about him just because big Rex Burkhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess other than, like, of course, Dameon Pierce and, like we mentioned, Brandon Cooks, you're not really looking at any other Texans options for fantasy?
Nope. That's it.
I mean, maybe you could, if you have to stream a quarterback, Davis Mills, maybe. But
Mills?
I'm good.
Moving on to the 3 o'clock games, we have the Cardinals. I won't forget the Packers this week, this time around.
That was funny last week.
Yeah. Moving on, so we have the Cardinals at the Panthers. The Panthers are actually 1.5-point favorites, so it's pretty much a toss-up game from Vegas. For the Cardinals, I think you can play pretty much all their options. Kyler's been very serviceable to his wide receivers, so your Marquise Brown as a wide receiver, you're playing I think you can probably play Greg Dortch if Rondale Moore is not in.
Mm-hmm.
And if Rondale Moore is in, I would have confidence in playing him this week.
I might be yeah. I'd be a little scared on Rondale Moore this week, just first week back, but Zach Ertz has been insane.
Yeah, Zach Ertz, their tight end, I think is a solid play this week as well.
I think he's like second in targets for tight ends in the league, Zach Ertz is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Trade him before D-Hop gets back because he's not going to be getting that then.
Yeah, I actually just recently traded or received a trade for D-Hop and Tyler Boyd. I did have to give away, I believe it was Bateman and another
Judy
piece who escaped me. but
Judy.
and Jerry Judy. But I'm very set in my wide receiver core, other than, or I guess up until D Hop gets back. So very excited for me personally. Had to bring that up.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It's like a new toy.
James Conner in this game. You're probably for sure starting him, but what's your confidence level?
Yeah, I'm pretty I mean, not that he's gonna have this big, massive game, but I think that he'll be decent.
Yeah. Wait, the Cardinals, who they're playing again?
Carolina.
Carolina. Yeah, I could envision a game where he either pops off or like does nothing, to be honest with you. If it's like a blowout, get him a bunch of carries, bunch of goal line touches, but like I could also see like Panthers just stuffing the run and getting destroyed by Kyler and company.
Mm-hmm.
For the Panthers, of course, you're playing Christian McCaffrey unless you're Cody, which then you put him on the bench.
I'd play 8 running backs over him.
For the wide receivers for the Panthers, though, DJ Moore, I honestly don't think you can realistically play any of these guys with real confidence.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
and when I say like with confidence, in my opinion, that means like they'll have a top 24 wide receiver finish.
You don't even think about it, basically.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, DJ Moore is kind of like a flex for me. I mean, I don't have him on any of my teams, so I haven't really studied what he does. But I heard it's been bad, but it'd be hard for me not to play him in a flex.
I think he's 40th ranked. He's like in the 40s ranked receiver right now in fantasy.
Yeah, but there's so many people who have been studs the first 3 weeks, but I don't know.
He needs to get traded to Green Bay. That'd be great.
Holy cripes. Now we're talking.
Packers Super Bowl then.
Yep. Get the parade ready.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Broncos at the Raiders. Currently, the Raiders are 2.5-point favorites. For the Broncos, I mean, Drew, let's let you just take the lead on this one with your Russell Wilson confidence, your I guess Jerry Judy, Courtland Sutton confidence. Where are you feeling on this one?
Let's ride. I think
you're gonna be eating his Subway sub while watching the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident in probably, well, for sure Courtland Sutton. I think Judy will have a fine game. Not confident in Russell, but I'm playing him because it's a good matchup. I mean, I don't know. Sutton's been really good the whole time, and yeah, I don't know. I think this is the week you can keep playing Russell, but he's been terrible. So I think it's a good matchup to play him in.
Yeah, this is a great matchup for the Broncos. I think that I was surprised to see that Vegas was a 2.5-point favorite. I mean, Las Vegas is 0-3. Their defense is not great.
Yeah, they don't look good.
I think the Broncos, if I was a betting man, which from time to time, I would definitely take the Broncos here, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like Javonte too in this matchup.
Oh, for sure. Javonte, you drafted him to pretty much be a week in, week out starter. Melvin Gordon at all?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he's still been getting work.
I mean, it'd be hard, but maybe a little flex action.
For sure. Yeah. For the Raiders, Josh Jacobs has gotten so many touches this year. He's been relatively serviceable, been fairly good. Devontae Adams, wide receiver for the Raiders. You're playing him. Darren Waller, you're playing him. Any other options for the Raiders?
Not against Denver's D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Matt Collins, you can watch him on your bench for this week, but he looks good.
You'd have to be pretty desperate, I feel like, to start Matt Collins this week.
I mean, I did pick him up this week just as a stash and maybe wait and see, but I just think when Hunter Renfrow playing?
I think he's questionable right now. I haven't seen much of an update on him, so
yeah, maybe Hunter
playing.
Maybe Hunter Renfrow. I don't know. It's still tough against Denver's D. They're looking
Right.
good this year.
You just have to have other options other than playing Hunter Renfrow in this matchup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3:00 game, Len, told you guys I wasn't going to forget it. We have the Patriots. Oh, wow. We have the Patriots at the Packers, and the Packers are 9.5-point favorites.
Mac Jones not playing.
That is by far the biggest line I think we've seen thus far this season.
Yeah, I think we'll cover that.
Yeah, I would hope so. So for the Patriots, I'm not playing a single soul personally.
Ramondre.
That's about it. I'm glad I got the one that you could play, Ramondre, because Hoyer, you're probably assuming he might check down a lot, maybe. And Ramondre's been good for their offense, so hopefully they keep it going.
Yeah, Ramondre had a good last week. Yeah.
For the Packers, if you picked up their defense, I think that they're gonna just go nuts this game.
Yeah.
Exactly. For their other fantasy options, would you even think about streaming Rodgers?
I think so.
It's just going to be such a ground and pound game with Aaron. In my opinion, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are really the only ones that you can play and feel good about yourself. Like the receivers are getting work, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it's to the level where you can start them over other options.
It might be the homer in me, but I think you could get weird and start Romeo.
You can get
sure.
Yeah.
Only because they were so successful with like calling his number last week against a really good Buccaneers defense.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to get him involved again, but any other receiver tight end option, no for the Packers for sure.
Romeo Doubs or Treylon Burks?
Romeo.
Another edition of Evan pick a player and quiz the other co-hosts. Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs or DJ Moore.
Romeo.
Really?
Moore's been so bad this year, man.
I don't know. I go DJ Moore.
I feel like DJ Moore this year is like, I wish there was a way to track it on ESPN, like the amount of rosters he's on, like they're like a bottom half of the league type team.
Right.
They might need to like get a little risky and start a guy that's just emerging for an offense that has injured receivers.
Mm-hmm. Last one, Romeo Doubs or literally any of the wide receivers from Kansas City.
Oh. Who are they playing this week again?
We'll get to them next, but they're playing the Buccaneers.
Romeo.
Yeah.
Romeo.
Interesting. A lot of love for Romeo. I think I'm the only one that's still a little iffy on him.
Where art thou, Romeo?
And we haven't even talked about what about Alan Lazard? Like he's supposed to be the number one option for them, but I just think the way that they crafted their game plan in a big game last week, that it just leaned more towards Romeo.
Yeah, Lazard is not going to be great fantasy impact. He's going to do a lot of the little things, good for football impact and on the field. He'll catch a good clutch third down here or there, but nothing substantial.
And then, of course, you were playing A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones. I kind of like Bobby Tonyan, Robert Tonyan, the tight end for the Packers.
Really?
Yeah, I brought that up on our show on Tuesday. The Patriots have been terrible. Patriots have been terrible against the tight end. So I think, I mean, if you're looking for one of those flyer tight ends, it's like, why not?
Yeah, maybe. I feel like he's due.
All right, then the Sunday night game, we have the Chiefs at the Buccaneers. It's actually a completely even spread. So as of right now, Vegas does not have a winner to pick. So it's a real, true, genuine toss-up in this one. For the Chiefs, Travis Kelce, their tight end, you're, of course, playing. I think you can still play Clyde Edwards-Helaire with confidence. With him, I would say most likely you're looking at like an RB15 range. If anything, as like his peak, he is getting a lot of passing work, getting a fair amount of touchdowns, which I know we've talked about in the preseason. He just doesn't get, at least hasn't gotten in the past. But I think you can still play him for the wide receiver options. What are you doing there? Or are you just looking somewhere else? I guess even. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't have any of the Chiefs wide receivers on any of my 4 fantasy teams.
I drafted Sky Moore with my last overall pick, and it's like the one pass he got, he fumbled. So
yeah, it's kind of hard to start him against the Bucks. I mean, they're pretty good. We kind of scored on like our first scripted drive, and that was about it.
Yeah, I believe it was the first 2 drives that we scored, and then nothing.
Yeah.
The third drive was good too, and then we fumbled, but then they shut us down pretty much the rest of the game. They're still a top tier defense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Juju. I don't know. I haven't been paying too much attention to Juju.
Right, the Chiefs haven't gotten like a real primetime game yet this year, have they? Well, no, they played the Bills.
Yeah.
Primetime, but other than that, haven't really seen too much of them.
Mm-hmm.
For the Buccaneers, what are you doing with that wide receiver room? I mean, of course, playing Mike Evans, he's back. Chris Godwin, I believe, may also be back. He's still, of course, that day-to-day. But yeah, I agree, Drew. If he's in, I'd play him for sure.
Same.
Yeah, he's gonna be a target monster for Brady, and Evans could be a touchdown guy, big play guy. But I don't know. I think he loves Godwin. Yeah, it's probably it for pass catchers.
What about Russell Gage?
I'd play him if
Godwin's out.
Yeah, one of those 2 are out. As a flex guy, sure.
I just think the organization's approach with Russell Gage, for whatever reason, he must have done something to someone in that coaching staff, because last week he got just an unbelievable amount of targets. He was very much a focal point of the offense. Every other week, when you look at his time with the Bucks, like relatively nothing compared to last week. So
he fumbled last week too.
Right. So I really think it's just like last week was an outlier.
Yeah, I think so.
Leonard Fournette, running back for the Buccaneers, for sure start.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know. I want to do some trades for Leonard Fournette. I think he's getting a crazy amount of workload.
Well, did you see what he said at his press conference or whatever?
Oh, yeah, to his fantasy managers.
Yeah, he said he told Rashad White and their other backup running back that he wants them to get more touches.
Oh,
take the
nice.
off his body. So you can trade for Leonard if you want.
No, well, in all my leagues, I got Rashad White.
Yeah, I know.
Either that or he can sprain an ankle, you know?
Yeah.
Just kidding. That was a terrible joke. Don't sprain an ankle.
Well, it's not like every fantasy football manager doesn't say it in their heads, at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last game we have up here is the Monday night game. It is the Rams at the 49ers, which should be a good one. Divisional matchup, too. The 49ers are surprisingly a 1.5 home favorites in this one. For the Rams, would you stream Matt Stafford?
Yeah. Oh no. Has he been that bad?
I just don't think he's to the point where you can stream him some other options. Like, would you rather stream Matt Stafford or Derek Carr?
Not Derek Carr against Denver.
Stafford probably, but Stafford or Lawrence, I'd probably take Lawrence.
Yeah, it's just I think San Francisco's got a good defense, and I don't know.
At home.
It might not be like this big barn burner game.
Yeah. Slugfest, slug it out.
I don't know. I feel like this could be a very high scoring game.
Yeah.
They have really all the same pieces as the past few years of this matchup, with Jimmy G now having or being the starting QB. So I honestly think this could be a very good game. But for fantasy, sorry, go ahead.
I think
Right.
you're right. He's on the edge for me.
Right. Fantasy wise for the Rams, Cam Akers has been getting a majority of the share of the backfield carries. I do think that at this point you can start him with relative
Mhm.
confidence. I think he's still a running back 2, meaning he'll probably finish within the 13 to 24 overall weekly finish in this game. So I think that's an option, which is kind of funny considering the just the hate and slander that we may have said about him in the week one.
Yeah, and you just were like, you just said Cam Akers has been. I was like, oh my goodness.
Wide receiver options, Cooper Kupp for sure. Tight ends, you're definitely doing Tyler Higbee. Allen Robinson, though, people, I think if you don't actually watch those games, you don't have a great gauge of what was happening. Allen Robinson should have either for sure 2, if not 3, additional touchdowns on the year. Like week 1 was called back on a penalty. Last week, he let one drop right in his hands. It would have been a walk-in touchdown, relatively walk-in touchdown. So I think that Allen Robinson, market this day, 9:29, Allen Robinson is still set to be at least a wide receiver 2 finish.
Really?
He
I-
turns it
At least in
around,
my
man.
opinion.
I benched him. I benched him this week for Isaiah McKenzie.
Well, I think that's just matchup. I would do the same exact thing.
So
it's just
that's
like
why. So that's why you didn't accept my trade.
Yep.
What?
We were trying to do a trade before. I think the same thing as Evan, that like Al Robinson's going to turn it around. He's a good receiver in
Yeah.
an offense with a good offensive coordinator. Yeah, I think he's going to turn it around. It just depends how much and when.
I mean, he's on the field for 90+% of snaps. Like, just based on that, he has to get some more work.
I agree. I mean, I drafted him in 2 weeks. I just need to see it first, you know.
Right. For the 49ers, then, you're definitely doing that. Definitely starting Debo. With that back,
Debo has blow up games against the Rams. He comes to play versus the Rams.
in primetime too. I think Debo's, I forget where I saw the stat, but like Debo's one of the best primetime receivers you've seen.
Get ready for Super Gremlin coming in with the speaker.
Cannot wait. Yeah.
You
But,
guys playing Cooper Kupp this week?
I don't know. Toss up. But would you guys start George Kittle?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you probably
Yeah.
drafted him early. You might have to stick with him. It's a little early to give up on him and look for a different streaming option. You probably want to start having a tight end or 2 on your bench, though.
Or 2?
Mainly 1. 2 total. You have 3. There's the
Right.
door.
Right. Any other options on the 49ers?
Ayuk, maybe if we believe it's a good game. Ayuk could be all right. I don't think Ramsey's not going to be like traveling and covering him the whole time. You think?
No, I don't think so. So I would personally only do or play Ayuk maybe in like a DFS, like a draft lineup. In my actual lineup, I don't think I have much confidence.
No flex option. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk or Isaiah McKenzie.
Oh, Isaiah McKenzie.
Ooh. I would think Brandon Ayuk, but he's going against Ramsey. Let's go McKenzie. Let's ride with McKenzie.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, that concludes all of our matchups for this week. Guys, if you have any other news, notes, any other comments about the matchups that we just covered, any analysis on the game that's going on right now, Teddy B not looking terrible for a
he's keeping him in it.
Yeah.
I know this week in fantasy, Drew is going to get throttled.
Yeah.
I gotta check what the
projections are me just destroying Cody.
Ah, really?
We'll see what happens.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But in the meantime, you can follow us on all social medias. You can find us on Twitter at Draft Preppers. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Draft Day Preppers Podcast. I believe we will be doing the Sunday live. So just doing a quick live, same format as this, right before the kickoff on Sunday morning. We won't be doing it early for the London game, but we'll get it in before the noon games.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, I'm not waking up at 7 on Sunday just for
No.
y'all. Love everyone that tunes into the show, but that's my limit. My beauty sleep.
Yeah, gotta keep this. Keep my face, looking good.
Yeah. But until next time, best of luck in all your fantasy league matchups. And again, till Sunday, stay prepped.